Hello and welcome to a LEGO Train MOC showcase video. This is my fourth LMS streamlined coronation, and this is in the livery of the metroliner. So the idea to build the coaches came after the idea to build this. The coronation in the metroliner grey and simple stripes was an idea I had kind of briefly, but eventually I thought, you know what, I reckon that could work. So I kind of got the parts in and got to work straight away. There are some interesting elements to this build, and I had to make sure that the lining across the side of the boiler lined up with where the lining on the coaches is themselves. So a bit of playing around meant that the body shape on the locomotive is slightly different. There's no 1x2 kind of cheese slopes at the bottom of the boiler above where the valances are. But even then, there's not too much of an issue because it kind of flows down quite nicely, and overall, this look is actually quite clean. There are no trim line tape elements to this either. All of the lining is brick built, and that saved me so much time, and it was actually much nicer to kind of go through and complete this because I knew I don't need to inconvenience myself with trim line tape. If I focus in on this section here, you can tell where the boiler, where it's 6 studs wide, kind of just comes down and stops to where the 7 wide section is. Again, it's not too much of a difference because of how this was ultimately built up. And the cab area sticks out just a little bit more than it normally does. Again, because I had to use this brick tool piece where the lining kind of swivels upwards a bit. It was kind of a forced thing because otherwise I'd have to do something weird with the lining, kind of where it was a little bit lower. Again, inconveniences where even if it was at this shape, it would just look really awkward. But ultimately, this looks really nice. I'm so glad with how this turned out. It's kind of simple, but again, it looks so cool. The thick black bases underneath the cab for the tender, just, it makes it look really nice. It's not actually that bland. It's simple enough where you can go, yes, it's simple, but it's still so attention-grabbing in its own unique way. I only have lettering and a numbering in 3 different colors, gold, silver, and yellow. And frankly, the silver one looked the best. It's not going to be that convenient for me to get some more lettering, especially not too sure what other colors I would use in the future. So I thought I'd stick to a silver one for now. And yes, TLR is of course on the tender. And the number I'm using on the cab is for a specific coronation. I will let you do your own research on that. I have plans to make more of these in the future. Well, I have livery ideas at least, but you know, since I'm not going to be making any more for a while, I may as well get that specific number onto this locomotive. And speaking of the kind of decals, I haven't done anything for the name. I am going to call this one Metroliner just because this is what it's designed after. But again, I kind of want to wait until I have a few more of these built down the line so I can buy a bunch of these in bulk. They will be uniquely printed 1x8 tiles, and I know where I can get them from. It's just, you know, buying some right now is doable, but again, I'd rather wait for a bulk order. The drive wheels I am using for the boiler, as well as the ones I have for the tender, are new ones. These are made by LMS member Joe, who recently, at least at the time of recording, launched his website, and it was very exciting to get a hold of some of these because these are 3D printed but done using a resin printer. So the overall quality when they come off the press is much better than standard 3D printing. These are much smoother, they feel so much nicer in your hand, unlike traditional 3D printed stuff, where you feel the scratchiness and the roughness of them. This is so much better. And they fit on the Technic axle pieces perfectly first try. Each wheel is tested beforehand. And again, I thought, okay, I'm going to have to, you know, test the fit myself. First try, got it all in super perfectly. I was very, very impressed. Now, there is one thing I failed to mention when it came to advertising his website when it first launched in my community tab. So, Joe is a member of LMS, which is based in the UK, and I had a few people ask me if he was willing to ship outside of the UK. I'm not representing him in any way, I'm just saying, you know, he is someone who is now making his own wheels and rods, so it's another option for UK LEGO train builders. It's going to be quite the inconvenience for people who live in the UK to ship it, or anything for that matter, outside of the UK. If you want larger size or different color drive wheels, I strongly recommend you instead go to Big Ben Bricks. But if you live in the UK and you build LEGO trains and you want something that is larger in size, different in color, or if you want some more drive rods as well, because that is something that Joe is selling, then I fully recommend that you check out his website. Again, I will leave a link to that in the description, but it's more recommended for UK based LEGO train builders to use this website instead of Big Ben Bricks. The tender for this locomotive is exactly the same as other ones I've made. It is built up in the exact same way, uses all the same features, the same shaped bricks, it's just the colour that is different. And of course, that I mentioned earlier that I'm using Joe's 3D resin printed wheels, which are again super smooth. And one thing he did also offer was, for the medium-sized wheels that I'm using here, I said I wanted drive wheels, but he did provide an option to remove the pinhole and the counterweight, so they look like actual wheels that you would see on a tender instead of drive wheels. I think that is excellent. But I, for one, personally went for drive wheels because if I want to, any reason in the future, take these off for another model, I have actual drive wheels ready to hand. The only thing I don't like about this is the lettering. Again, it's not the best ever because I only have 3 colors, and I might buy another color sheet one day, but I need to make sure it's going to be for more than one model. It's not worth spending a fair bit of money on a number and letter sheet if it's only going to be used like for one model. Again, there's only going to be a few letters and numbers peeled off, and then it just sits to a side for the rest of its life. That isn't quite good. And there we go, that is it for this mock showcase video. Thank you all ever so much for watching. This is becoming my kind of main locomotive. I have 4 of these now, and I need to make sure that for Christ's sake I don't scrap them for any reason. This one I won't be too fussed about, again, because I don't have any lining on it, so it's not the end of the world. But with 4 of these kind of locked in now, especially that this one has some coaches built after it, this cannot really go anywhere. Now, I have been writing down some livery ideas for future models, and it is interesting to see what could be done because the bricks exist in the right colors. But, you know, space is going to be its own mess. I'm not going to make any more coaches for any specific coronations that I make in the future. I am probably going to have to scrap 1 or 2 locomotives in their place, but at the same time, I'm not too fussed. This is my favourite locomotive. Whilst I've gone back and forth with this and the LNER P2, it's kind of confirmed now that this one is definitely my baby. And it is just so much fun to make, despite how big and tedious it is. Seeing 4 of these next to each other is truly a sight to behold. So there will be more of these made in the future. A lot of people have been asking about me making one of these in blue. Someone specifically, or at least recently at the time of recording, asked me on my Discord server, Luke, are you finally going to make one of these in blue? Yes, but not the one you think. I'm not going to make the original one where it had white or silver lining down the side of the boiler. I have different ideas for the lining. You might like it, or you're going to think it looks ugly and you're going to hate me. But I will leave that for another day. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you all ever so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye-bye.